Greetings and welcome to my dear Libra friends. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. Yeah. Firstly, astrologically, the eclipse season that has just recently passed, that type of energy will continue on throughout December, highlighting essentially any placements you have within the Taurus and Scorpio axis, the fixed axis of resistance to change, and also transmutation of the material realm of fixity. Okay, so very intense times indeed. We're moving out of Scorpio season, and furthermore, going into the domain of Sagittarius and Capricorn in the coming months. So essentially, there will be a movement from the 8th, ninth, and 10th into the 10th house. Okay. So very intense times indeed, having to deal with shadows as well as realizing self-realization and the accumulation of karmas. Okay. That culminates in the 10th house. And what does this all mean? It means that on the horizon, when it comes to solar energy especially, there is a depth and a complexity to self-realization that Libra can benefit, that anyone can benefit from, in terms of coming to the point of the dark light, of the truth that is submerged, okay, into the depths of Scorpio, and then essentially that is projected out through the 9th and the 10th houses. Yeah, so I think it's important to essentially ground oneself, and also to realize that the sort of changing dynamic when it comes to your own inner world should come to some type of fruition, some type of exhaustion. Okay, what I'm talking about is karma. Okay, when it comes to karma, and it comes to our sort of our role throughout the human experience of what we're here to do, what we're here to act out, is essentially an exhaustion of karmas. Okay, it's doing something until it's finally done, and then we can have some sort of release. Okay, some sort of liberation from all of that. So these are things to possibly think about as December approaches and as you go through December. Today we shall be doing an organic reading, and then we're going to move into the Great Mirror. This is for the month of December 2022 for the energy of Libra, and we'll go ahead and get started now. So I'm going to choose the bicycle deck. Firstly, we'll get started with a bit of an organic reading dealing with karma, and look particularly into one action or directive that is going to be happening in December that might take a lot of time or influence for Librans out there. Okay, this has to do with family. Some sort of change or new directive when it comes to family, redefining the shape of love in family, trying to understand why there's a separation from something very familiar. It could be that you're departing, or there's a change when it comes to the inheritance or the lifeline you've been given. This has to do also with organizations. This has to do with society in general. Um, with the Three of Cups, Five of Cups, Three of Cups in reverse, there's a difference of the Two of Cups. Okay. So this is a new way to essentially water a situation, water a ground that you've been sort of encompassed with. Lots of connectivity with a project or a collective, friends, your work, your interaction with humans in general. There's a great foundation here that has to do with cooperation and an illumination uh, of what is showing up in the 10th house in particular. So there's something to do here with I see someone who is working in a certain way, doing things a certain way. This could be you, and essentially working with others in order to come up with or bring forward a sense of stability, a sense of a new earth, something like this. It could be that you are on a new page or a new sort of awakening, that things have changed, the face of the world has changed in some sort of way. And from this, there's an ability to redefine and come up with, at least presently, a way of love and proper manifestation of a way to interact with others in general. Three of Cups, Seven of Cups, Ten of Cups. There's something here about the jump from one to another, trying to understand why things won't work out with everything, with everyone. And there are certain ways in which you can use your own free will, your own determination to accomplish a sense of order for yourself, regardless of what others think. But still, there is cooperation with people who you don't even agree with. And from this, there is stability, some sort of growth in stability. It's something that the Queen of Rods is manifesting when it comes to stability for all, sustainability for all, equanimity for all. On the horizon, there's an ability to essentially see and seek out what I'm seeing here to be the difference of the Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Cups in reverse is huge, because Three of Cups usually it denotes a sense of joy, a sense of accomplishment with others in certain relationships. But with it being in reverse, this joy is reversed. So essentially, you get to see through inauthentic connections, see through anything that does not actually resemble truth. Okay, when it comes to emotional transactions with others, there's a way here that I rather like, but also there's a disconnect, leaving anyone and anything that is not authentic or not for your greater interest. And I'm talking about the interest of collectives, the interest of organizations, of humanity, of society in general. So I rather like this, but if it deals particularly with family, there is a type of separation or some sort of clause around that. And it may feel sad, but there also is something to glean from all of that. The path of true love, the path of authentic love or creativity. So I rather like that. Let's look more into this situation. Okay, so this is a choice. This is a choice. It's going to lead down a path of isolation. If something has occurred in terms of a calling for this situation, for this connection, um, it's as if those who have left your tribe or left your collective, left some sort of trace or carbon footprint, those those people that have gone are going to either stay gone, or there's something about them being gone or them being absent that creates a fondness on your path of isolation. This has to do essentially with the hermit's path, making a choice. And this requires a lot of patience. It might feel like stagnation, but it's a rite of passage that leads to some sort of success, okay, when it comes to your heart's desire, when it comes to especially looking good by leaving in some sort of way. Um, this has to do also with the faith you put in yourself when it comes to forms of transformation, especially when dealing with old or ancient connections with others, and essentially letting the vision of those transform, letting go, and then also there is a sense of return by some sort of faith, by some sort of inexorable connection, something that cannot be severed when it comes to the connection with another. But the path of the hermit is still here, and it requires primarily a sense of looking for truth, trying to find the inner flame or the inner sense of oneself, and essentially being true to that. Okay, and this does not surprise me, considering a lot of what people are going through essentially is this trial to find the path and to find footing, and to place faith in the things that have gone by and the things that have gone and left. And essentially, if you have left, there's something about all of this that requires the right footing and the slow, methodical pace of Virgo, of the hermit. Um, let's see here. I think that if you were to essentially find the right tool in order to see why things have changed and why there is a need for mutability, why there is a need for flexibility, there's a possibility of primarily coming into a sense of newness, finding a new sense of grounding. Okay, when it comes to your path, it may be obscure, it may be something different or strange or enigmatic to others. People won't understand you, but the quest for the real, the quest for authenticity, the quest for love, these are this is something that only you can walk, and that it requires a great deal of you to do this. And even if you were to return to old patterns or old sort of systems or old connections, there's something about that where there is the inkling, or there's the possibility of you having faith within that connection, and that faith bringing forward a sense of it all, while pushing forward, while looking back, while taking the leap back to something that is old, for example, an older connection, an older situation. There's a possibility to bring light to it by essentially by having that sense of faith, by placing faith in others who have left, or if you have left them, something like that. There's also the ability to. Okay, interesting. Yeah, to essentially set aside and no longer deal with essentially the expectations of what should have been. Okay, meaning that if you're going to, in the future, if you were going to essentially tap into older connections or an older path that you once have left behind. There's an ability here to essentially see what has come of it, what kind of things have come to fruition in terms of itself balancing itself out over time. Lots of this Virgo energy. So I'm thinking that you have to essentially be mindful of where you place your hands in terms of the hands having the ability to mold or shape your future, and also to master something, to hold something, and to master something. Okay. So be mindful of your daily routines in the month of December when it comes to this situation. Be mindful also of any sense of sorrow or grief. It's just because of the isolated nature of the path of the hermit that requires focus. It requires a lot of focus and isolation in order to come up with concentration of the things that you're going to do. One of them is addressing the past and trying to place faith in the past of what's already been left behind, and also to confront certain things when it comes to old ways of thinking, old ways of pattern or conditioning, and then sort of setting that aside, and then coming up with the faith to understand why things have happened the way they did, and also to understand that there still is fruit when it comes to that particular situation, when it comes to what has been sort of handed to you. It feels like it's just been handed to you, or taken away, one or the other. Okay. So we'll go on and get into the main reading, which is the Great Mirror. And the Great Mirror is a tool devised by the Order of the Twin Sun in order to see particular karmas that may exist between Libra and the opposite. Okay. It could be that you could be encountering people this month, okay, that are here to settle up old karmas. Okay, settle up old accounts. And I think it's important to know that your path is something that they will not know, but they may traverse it in order to understand something of the 10th house, something that has been accumulated over your connection or over lifetimes. That is coming to head, and there's an ability to purify, for them to purify all of this by placing faith in what they do, whatever they do, in terms of the Fool's journey, and then to meet the Hermit and to understand the sort of path that is here. Because the Fool does not look at the path. The Fool simply traverses the path. They essentially walk through it, but what I see here is a lot that has to do with the clearing out of and the exhaustion of certain karmas. Okay, and that's just the theme for this month: the exhaustion of karmas. So when you have an action and there's something about that action where it feels like it's been done, and they say that if you were to do the same thing again and again, and it having the same effect, only a fool would do that again and again. But sometimes that type of repetition it becomes ingrained in not only your consciousness and your subconsciousness, but the collective consciousness. And there are certain ways and behaviors that we as humans collectively sort of derive from, and they may not be our own. They may not be. They may just merely be a role or some sort of fashion, something of fashion that needs to sort of express itself. And once it does, then it becomes unfashionable. It becomes played out. Okay, and that's sort of the point I'm trying to get at here. Okay. Okay, so the Hermit shows up again for you. Okay. Um, I think within this connection, you may have a particular advantage and a viewpoint. Um, there's a sense of exhaustion in what you do within this connection. It feels like you've gotten to the point of being within this connection uh, and being with this type of person for so long that it is somewhat leading to an effortlessness. Okay, so there's something about you that, on a minimalistic level, uh, you don't have to think about this. You already know it. There's a sense of knowing in what you do, and they see this in you. That you know that you are wise, that you've been through a lot when it comes to connections in general. When it comes to also your sense of self-knowing, and now there's a preservation about you. There's a reserved quality, at least for this month, when you're dealing with this connection in particular, where the very clothes and the very way that you carry yourself in terms of the mind, in terms of the way and the process of thinking, there is a sense of clarity in it, and you are subconsciously manifesting the path of the Hermit. Okay, and the Hermit is a very beautiful thing, considering that it is a subtle energy wherein the rod of manifestation is very subtly held, and it is just it becomes something of a walking stick. Like, you've already been there. You already know the sort of limitations of, say, desire, of anything that has to do with seeking out or manifesting, creating. There's something about you that's already been there. It's kind of done that, and it's on the left hand. Okay, and the left hand is very symbolic of the more subtle, refined, receptive qualities of feminine grace, and also with all of the sword energy, with the Ten of Swords as well as the King of Swords. There's an ability for you to clearly see anything from the past, and also understand it for what it is. For what it is. Okay. You're dealing with someone who mirrors you in some sort of way, in that they want to embrace Mercury's energy, okay, and use it in such a way that it would keep them busy, okay. Mercury is all about, it's kind of like Mars in that there's a lot of action in it, but in this particular case, their Mercury is more externalized. It's more based on the third house. Yours is more based on the sixth house. The difference of those is still somewhat selfish. The third and sixth house are still self houses, okay? But at the same time, there's something about them that would look to their friends, look to their colleagues, look to their most immediate communities in order to understand a sense of community in what they do. At the same time, it's faced away from you, but their horse is still trying to understand the path of the Hermit. They're still very much interested in the sort of path that you're walking. So this gives them a sense of avenue, that they are familiar with your connection. They know your connection. At the same time, there's something deep and repressed about what they do, because we have here the Six of Cups in the reverse. Okay, and with the Six of Cups in reverse, there is a sense, essentially, here, that both of you are mirroring with Avantage and Avenia, with the Ten of Swords and the Six of Cups, both in reverse. There's something of memory and nostalgia that is being suppressed in some sort of way on a conscious level. So this type of connection, it symbolizes something deeper in terms of the macrocosm, in terms of the macro connection that both of you might share. This has to do with the idealized versions of progression when it comes to your own understanding, both of your own understandings of your roles in society. At the same time, the Seven of Pentacles does show up, and Saturn is here, and this showed up for the pre-read as well. You're dealing with someone here that needs to find the right drive and ambition in order to create a sense of something. At the same time, they feel the isolation that you do. But it's something, your isolation is a type where it's like you want to be alone, you want to be your own self, you want to have your own refined principles. When it comes to especially the way you have found a new sense of clarity when it comes to your mind, the operations of psychological patterning, conditioning, and understanding these as almost to a point of exhaustion. You understand all of that. Now you're looking for a new path of isolation. You're trying to find and refine something and curate something for your own in terms of a new world, in terms of something that is unknown, that is coming to be known, and then maybe perhaps you will deal with others. I think it's important to essentially be conscious of where you place your cup, if you ever do, where you place your sense of nourishment for anyone, especially when it requires you to look deeply within. The thing is that when it comes to this situation, deep down inside, I think there is a sense of newness and a new vitality to it. There's a refreshed quality about all of this. At the same time, there's a lot of repression when it comes to some of the more deeper intensities that this person is hiding from you. They may not want to show it to you, but they're very deeply interested and invested into your connection. At the same time, there's something about this that has to do with the Two of Pentacles, Saturn and Mercury making a conversation. Okay. When Saturn talks to Mercury and Mercury talks to Saturn, there is conviviality. There is something congenial about it. At the same time, Mercury can impart some of the, and sort of filch out and extract some of the deeper qualities of wisdom that Saturn has to offer, and offer that to whoever needs it in terms of Mercury's role as a messenger of Saturn. There also is the element of something bubbly, okay, something that oscillates rather quickly, something that could dance on the rings of Saturn, let's say, or Saturn's sort of gravity, its introversion, okay. It meets with essentially a sense that things can be a little bit more peppy, or something about them, especially something about them wants to make a type of communication, and if it won't happen with you, it's going to happen either way. But then there's a lot of repressed sort of energy when it comes to some of the more deeper feelings. There's also a melancholy or a sadness about them that both of you feel, and this could be something that is shared within the sort of societal experience of what everyone is going on, when trauma of the post-pandemic sort of psychosis. Okay, what I see here is kind of like a piggy bank. It's like having no order, or no sense in what is going on, but then burying seeds and letting those sort of grow over time. Whether or not things will occur from that it's really dependent on them, I think, the actions that they do. But the thing is that with all this sort of restrictive, isolated quality, when it comes to the bridge, when it comes to what's culminating with the Seven of Pentacles and Saturn's influence, this type of connection requires a great deal of self-control. And I'm not sure if this person has that. I think you do. There's almost a type of numbness about you when it comes to most connections in general, where they are treated as almost been there, done that stories. You understand it, it's almost quite boring. So the wise thing to do is to look within, to find this self-reflective quality within, and to use that wisdom, that grace, and that perfection that you can attain within your own self, and to eventually share that with others if they are worthy of that type of self care. It's not that you don't care about others. It's just that there's something about you that is extremely mature when it comes to this situation. Also them, but then their maturity is in a different way, but it's repressed. It's very much repressed, and I don't know if you would want to deal with that type of situation or person. Um, the idea here is to come up with a way to drop idealisms in general, to become realistic and pragmatic in that in which you do, to also let Mercury sort of work its magic when it comes to the mind and the manifestations of the mind and the power of the will, to essentially create and execute certain divisions, boundaries, expectations, and to entertain these expectations to such a degree that they become exhausted. And as they do, these essentially will allow you to reify or bring forward crystallizations of truth for your own self, and then create a sense of wealth within you, where you hold the diamonds of your design, where you hold the jewels of manifestation for your own. That is the best I can do, my dear Libra. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun signing out. Thank you. Bye-bye.